Hi, I'm Brian Jones.
I'm Bill Foster.
I'm Luke Greer.
I'm Ubaldo Garcia.
I'm Aaron Frith.
We're the ground controllers on the final shuttle mission.
And you're watching NASA TV.
I think it's gonna be a long, long time till touchdown brings me round. I get to find I'm not the man that think I'm at home. Oh no, I am a rocket man. Rocket man, I'm burning out his fuse up heaven alone.
Good morning, Atlantis. This is Elton John. We wish you much success on your mission and a huge thank you to all the men and women at NASA who worked on the shuttle for the last 3 decades.
Hey, good morning, Houston. Elton John, music legend. Wow, that is absolutely fantastic. We are absolutely honored that you took the time to the crew this morning and wake us up. We've invited the space station crew over here. We were all over to listen to the occasion. You know, I think it just illustrates the far-reaching both legendary 30 years of shuttle and also the amount of people globally that have been affected by the shuttle program itself. Thank you so much, Elton, for taking again the time to join us this morning, and it's great to be here, great to be in space.
Atlantis, Houston, we agree with you 100%, and it's great to be with you working for another day.
Good day from the Space Shuttle Flight Control Room at the Johnson Space Center in Houston as we move into Flight Day 6 of Atlantis' flight to the International Space Station. The spectacle of yesterday's 6-hour, 31-minute spacewalk by Mike Fossum and Ron Guerin to transfer a failed pump module from a stowage platform on the International Space Station back into the payload bay of Atlantis for the trip back to Earth and the transference of a robotic refueling mission payload from Atlantis to the space station for future technology demonstrations, along with other associated work that Fossum and Guerin accomplished during a textbook spacewalk yesterday. All of that has morphed to what essentially is a blue-collar day for the 10 crew members on board as we move into the heart of the mission and what this flight is really all about, and that is namely the transfer of almost a year's worth of supplies from Atlantis's cargo module, the Raffaello multipurpose logistics module that was attached on Monday to the Earth-facing port of the Harmony module of the International Space Station through the use of the station's robotic arm.
Are you still with us throughout?
Yeah, we're still here.
Hey, great news. I just wanted to throw out a shout-out from space for our folks at Wallops who have supported us throughout the years. You know, you guys have given us full S-band, UHF, air-to-ground support. It's just been tremendous. You know, I'm always amazed that in spite of what corner of the Earth we're on, we're able to, you know, talk to you folks, and it's just been a real pleasure. You're an integral part of every mission from the pre-launch testing, and you perform on-orbit support for us. You guys have tremendous can-do attitude. Just wanted to throw that out, and thanks from orbit.
Hey, Fergie, thanks very much. The folks out at Wallops have been active and supportive of the space program ever since the Space Task Group before NASA Johnson even existed. So I think they really appreciate your words.
Absolutely, Stevie Ray. Thanks a lot.
Good afternoon, Atlantis. You know, the launch was a success. The docking was just so emotional for everyone here. How has this mission been so far?
I got one word for you: really busy. We've had a great time. We've got some great station hosts up here, and we're just trying to get them all stocked up for the next year.
When you're up there, is it all work and no play, or do you get some downtime to
crew doing quite a bit of work, transfer work inside. Ron Guerin is continuing to work on the waste and hygiene compartment, which is the station's toilet. He is swapping out some air hoses and some other components of that particular device. If you've been following the mission here on NASA television, you know that the crew reported a sour smell coming from the area of this compartment a couple of days ago, earlier this week. This work that Guerin is doing today is not directly related to that because the smell has basically gone away from what the crew has reported. Well, what the crew did say is that they've noticed the motor that runs this entire device has been putting off sort of a louder noise than what they are used to, and they've also seen some decreased suction. So some of these parts of this WHC have already reached the end of their life on board the station, so they're going to go ahead and have Guerin swap out these parts today and to see if this takes care of the noise and the suction issue that he and the rest of the crew have reported. But the sour smell issue that they had reported a couple of days ago has basically gone away for now, so they will continue to monitor that and see if that problem has solved itself. So we'll follow along as Guerin continues to do this maintenance on this part of the station. We also reported to you that the crew is slightly ahead of transfer work in the multipurpose logistics module, moving cargo out of that. They're a little bit behind on the mid-deck transfers, but of course that'll all change tonight whenever Sandy Magnus calls down for her daily meeting with the transfer team here in Houston. This MPLM that is currently mounted with the station, as we've mentioned before, has 9,403 pounds of cargo inside of it that's being moved across the hatchways into the station. Of course, it's not so much moving it as it is finding locations for all of this, but the team is working very closely with the crew as they move these items across. And once they get all that unloaded, they're going to be moving 5,666 pounds back across from the station to the MPLM. And all that's going to come home aboard Atlantis at the end of this mission.
Heat exchanger from the FGB kind of slides right in here on top. There's room. I have rings to put some bungees down. Of course, those are all within the inner hatch or inner ring area when they're restrained. So there'll be a good clearance between that and the disc cover. And by the way, the disc cover was not installed when we opened the hatch.
Okay, Mike, yeah, the disc cover not installed was an expected config, and CIO is very happy with the video you're providing us. You do not need the stills. And like I was commenting, you probably have a future in closet organization.
Hey, that's the great thing about space flight. You know, one day you're doing the most outrageous thing humans have ever done, spacewalking. The next day you're fixing toilets and packing boxes.